Welcome, welcome. Hello. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm good. Let's get grounded. So let's take a moment to begin to settle in. Close your eyes. Take a big, deep breath in through your nose and sigh it out. Another big, full, deep breath in and release it out. Now relax into your body. Noticing the temperature and texture of air on your skin. Becoming aware of any taste that's present in your mouth. Noticing the smells that are coming to you. Becoming aware of what you see in your mind's eye. Lights, colors, shapes. Noticing all of the sounds around you, the sounds inside of the space you're in, and the sounds outside of the space you're in. Acknowledge it all and let it be. Take a moment to set your intention for our time together today. Holding that intention in your mind's eye. And when you're ready, let it be. Slowly coming back into your body, back into this moment, opening your eyes and joining us from wherever it is that you just went. Grab your journal, grab your pen, and take a moment to reflect on the last week. What came up for you in your morning pages? Did you do your morning pages? If not, what resistance do you feel like that was? What was your artist date? What did you experience on that artist date? What did you learn on that artist date? What did you feel on that artist date? And if you didn't do an artist date, what was your resistance to doing it? So we'll just take a few minutes and just write that out, and then I will check in with everyone. Who would like to share?
I'm happy to start.
Thank you.
It's pretty quick. My morning pages, I'm always talking about, oh, I did them, I did them, I did them. It was so wonderful, and I did, except yesterday I didn't, and because I just had a late start, and I felt totally out of sorts. I
Mm,
felt like I wasn't grounded. I was just all over my head. Kind of the way I interacted with people yesterday was just odd. I was just full of fear. And so I just really realized that I use those pages so much just to dump right in the morning. And so that was just, I mean, I'm sold on them, but it was just another confirmation of how important they are to me
mm.
and how they ground me. My artist date I attempted to do, I was going to go for a walk along the river and I got stuck in one of the Vice President Vance lives in our area, and I got stuck because I was around his area and they blocked everything off. I was sitting on the expressway for like an hour
Oh,
and I didn't make that walk. So what I did though, I just said, okay, I just kind of went into acceptance and I put on some nice music and I just thought I would just kind of just accept what was. And so when I finally got a chance to go and I had to meet a friend, I got there early enough to sit and be quiet and have a nice beverage before she got there. So I just kind of I made the most of what was going to be an artist date. So, oh, that
thank
was
you for sharing that. Yeah. And will you pick who goes next?
Monica.
Hey everybody. I kind of had an accidental artist date that turned out to be super cool. Um, there's some really weird, I won't say weird, there's some holidays here that we don't have in the States. So last Thursday and Friday were holidays, and it's not North Carolina hot, but guys, like in Switzerland where there's no air conditioning and there are no ceiling fans and it's 85 degrees and it's 82 in my apartment, it's hot. So we went paddleboarding for the day, which was super fun. And as we were leaving paddleboarding, I said, "Oh, we're in this town I never really go to." And I said, "I want to go to the arts supply store. Can we go?" And they were having like a free drawing session with all kinds of different tools laid out. And we just went and spent 2 hours drawing and talking to the instructor. And then we ended up going back the next day to do an urban sketching workshop with the instructor that turned out to be so cool. So it was really super like accidental, but was really, really fun. And my morning pages have been a little shorter this week. I haven't been sleeping super great because it's again so hot. But it's nice to really just focus on, even if it's really 3 lines of like, it's hot, I don't feel good, I have XYZ to do, this has been bothering me, or this is good. At least it's like doing that practice, getting it out, and that feels really, really good.
Mm, thank you for sharing. Will you pick who goes next?
Kelly.
So happy you found that for your artist date. That sounds amazing. Um, I would say my morning pages have been more like sporadic pages. I can't say that they've necessarily been in the morning, but um, we went to San Francisco last week as a family. And so I spent a lot of time on the plane journaling, which was nice. And then just kind of randomly throughout the week. But definitely feeling that same, like when I miss the days, like that scattered, like almost like just ping pong ball thoughts around my brain where it's like these things don't need to be in here, they need to be on the page. So there was a couple days while we were on vacation where I didn't journal, and then like the first thing I wrote when I finally journaled again was, "Oh, hello Paige, I missed you, like I need you." um yeah, so for my artist date, last night I went with some friends to it's a historic mansion in St. Paul in Minnesota. It's called the James J. Hill House. So he used to be like a railroad mogul. And so it's his old house. It's incredible. And now it's a Minnesota Historical Society site. And they had a dramatic reading of a play about one of St. Paul's old brothels, which I was like, I do not know what to expect. My friend is the site director there, so she had invited us, and I was like, okay, I was like, I don't even know what a dramatic reading was, but it was really inspirational because they had only practiced like twice, and it was kind of a mixture of like reading from their script with like light acting. And it was a lot of people that just worked at the historical society who were doing this acting. And I like thought they were professionals. They did such a good job. And it was really fun too, because it was like, even though it was about this brothel, it was more about kind of like the humanity of the woman who owned the building and like how she kind of supported the women around her. And especially during that time, like if a woman was widowed or lived in poverty or like was orphaned, they couldn't get jobs. So even though like it was this really also weird mix of like feelings, because you're like, oh, that's so cool, but also this is like sex workers, and I don't know, it was like very interesting. Yeah, so that's what I did for my artist date. It was unexpected, but very fun, very interesting.
Thank you for sharing. Will you pick who goes next?
Yeah, how about Chandy?
Sure. Thanks, Kelly. And I always find it interesting that how all the stories have like difficult for women. Like they always have to fight and do this, and I mean it's just. But I would say that I kind of gave up on my morning pages and everything in middle. My first trimester was very hard on me. I feel like I was just sleeping. I didn't want to do anything. So
Wait, what did I miss? Are you pregnant?
yes.
Congratulations.
Oh, I think I told Sarah, and sometimes in Vision to Action I would write, but yeah, I'm sorry, Alicia. Yeah.
I don't know how I missed that. Oh my
December,
God.
Christmas Day is the due date, so but which baby comes on due date? So yeah.
Oh,
Christmas Day.
congratulations.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, but now I feel as I'm entering into second trimester, it's getting easy, but I'm still finding my motivation. But I just wanted to be here today to see you all.
I'm so
And maybe,
glad.
thank you. Yeah, and maybe we'll do it again. Maybe we'll do that as this thing again, so I'll join again. So, but
I'll speak to this, but I do think that, especially for those of you who have done this before, you get whatever you're supposed to get out of it each time you do it. Sometimes it's a couple chapters, sometimes it's starting morning pages, sometimes it's keeping going with morning pages, and sometimes it's just like one little sentence, and sometimes it's the whole book. But like each time you just trust that you get out of it what you're supposed to get out of it.
that's true. Yeah, but I do agree with Dwanelba. I feel grounded when I do the pages, and I don't feel as grounded. So I feel I need to get back. So maybe I'll do the journaling challenge that you were starting. So yeah.
Well, Chandani, congratulations. The
Thank
world
you.
needs more of like your DNA in the world, so makes me so happy.
Thank you, thank you.
Okay, will you pick who goes next? Yeah.
Sarah.
Sure. So for my morning pages, I have found that I'm doing this thing where I review the day before, because I'm doing it in the morning and I'm sort of like reviewing everything that happened, but it's like the right amount of space, right? Like I've slept, I felt like when I was doing them in the evening and I was recapping my day, I was still like in it too much, like, I mean, it was fine, but I was a lot more still in the emotions of whatever was happening or whatnot. And now with the space of a good night's sleep, I'm finding that I'm able to like, I don't know if problem solve is the right word, but like I sort of see what happened, or whatever the situation was more clearly. So I've been enjoying that. And then I haven't had a specific chunk of time artist date, but I've noticed a lot more, or on my runs, I'm stopping to really enjoy the moment. And I don't know if anybody uses Marco Polo. My best friend and I Marco Polo all the time. And I Marco her while I run. And I was doing it, and I even on the call, I was like, "Ooh, a mulberry tree. These are ripe." And I was like sitting there eating them, and then I was like, "Oh, the raspberries too." And I was like going for it, and I saw this like really cool wood moth. So I'm just really trying to focus on small moments where I can stop and just like fully be in that moment.
Hmm.
And
Thank
then
you.
Kristen, I think you haven't gone.
Things are definitely opening up for me this week. I felt like I was kind of stuck for several weeks, and now it's kind of even reading through the chapter, um, and like anyway, like the test and the like it's time, right? Like just to like making some conclusions and knowing what I need to do and trusting that I know what I need to do. Um, but the morning pages have been great. One thing that I've added to, and we talked about it in the last chapter, but is exercise. And I've been doing that a lot more often, and it has been a game changer I think that's been an important addition. I think I don't even necessarily understand like how many connections, but just my whole attitude, everything has lifted and changed, adding the exercise. So that's worth noting too. But no, so I've been, more active with my morning pages and the artist date, and yeah, it's just kind of my whole life and being more present and all of that right now. So it's been a really good week.
Good, good.
It's been a like very all right here, emotional, like verge of tears. I'm physically exhausted. Like I could be in the middle of something and just be like, I need a nap. But to me, I feel like that's all just good stuff. It just means whatever I'm doing is working, that the changes are big.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that. Okay, I would love us all to do a little exercise. So once again, I want you to grab your journal and your pen, and I want you to think back to where we were 13 weeks ago, 14 weeks ago, when you were thinking about signing up for this. What was your headspace like? So take a moment to reflect on that and think about where you were creatively, spiritually, emotionally, maybe even energetically. And that can be like energy as in spirit energy, or that can be like energy in the body, whatever that means to you. And then so that's the first thing I want you to know. And then I want you to really think about where you are now. What's changed? What's different? What's dropped away? So I'm going to put a little bit of a summary in the chat box about those questions, but just start writing those things down. I'm going to set a timer for 5 minutes. And I will call us back in 5 minutes. right, wrapping up wherever you are. And just maybe take a quick, sometimes we write things and we don't even realize what we write down, right? And I want you to just look back and kind of read through what you wrote down. And maybe circle what kind of strikes you, what stands out to you, what surprises you. I'll just share this tidbit. In Greensboro last night, we had like a mega storm come through. And of course, right now, like the chainsaws are going in the neighborhood. And I'm like, guys, I can't concentrate. Please stop. And I've been trying to do all sorts of recording coming up for that 5 days of journaling, because that's not going to be like what we're doing with the 100 days of raw. It's going to be different, a different format, and I can't record when that's going in the background. So it's like, oh man. Hopefully it'll be done by tomorrow and I can work on it tomorrow. All right, who wants to share a reflection? Yeah, Monica.
I can go. Something that really stuck out to me, I can't remember what week it was, but it was really, we were talking a lot about play, and there was something that Dwinelva said that really stuck with me about like learning how to play and being okay with playing. And I feel like this time, because I really have done the artist way now maybe five times, I really found a sense of playfulness that has had such a positive impact on even other areas of my life. And it's really just helped me to relax and like take things less seriously. But when it comes to creativity, it's really allowed me to have a lot more freedom in what I do. And I really think my big takeaway, I wrote down play minus perfection equals fun. So that was really, really an awesome takeaway. And I know it's going to take a lot of time, but I really think through this focus on play, I can let that perfectionist side go. And I'm so happy about that.
That's really wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing. Yeah, Kelly.
I'm going to jump on this because talk about synchronicity. What I was thinking about my mindset 13 weeks ago, I wrote serious and I circled it like 10 times because I feel like my life was just so like serious, and not to sound like dramatic, but I also feel like I was just kind of like numbed out a little bit. Like I came off of like a hard fall and a hard winter, and I was feeling just like pretty down, and everything was just feeling like so heavy and so serious. And then I also wrote progress over perfection, play over perfection now. So yeah, Monica and I have just been having the exact same journey apparently for the last 13 weeks. But I do feel like just having more time to focus on what I want to do and like aligning my time that I do have with the things that I want to do and cutting out some things that weren't really adding value. Like, you know, my husband and I did a lot of Netflix and chill at night, and like we just have stopped doing that, and he'll go work on like whatever project he's working on, and I'll either just like read a book or go to bed and like actually get a full night's sleep. And that change has made such a big difference in just feeling like calmer and like more gentle with myself, my kids. And this whole process, I think I'm still feeling like pretty stuck at work, but I have a lot more like faith that this is where I'm supposed to be right now. And eventually, like, I don't know, I think maybe it was this last week's chapter where they were talking about like a loaf of bread rising and how you just kind of need to like sit in the dark. And I feel like that's kind of how I'm feeling at the end of this book is like, okay, like I'm like, I don't know what exactly it is, but I know it's coming and I know it's just time to just be. I don't know.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that, Kelly. All right, who's next?
And jump on the theme.
Yeah.
There were like three things that stuck out for me, but the playful and having more fun was unexpected for me. And it is boxed and highlighted. And like, as I went back and looked, because it's just occurred to me recently, like how much that's kind of like found its way in, and the importance of play and just kind of like, that's a big piece of what's been missing for me. So there's that. Another one is I just trust myself a lot more. There's a theme of a lot of things of trusting myself more. Um, and something that came up for me, that in a big emotional, like heavy dealing with it like every week way was a theme around like lack of self-love and self-worthiness, worthiness, etc. And it pops up all over the place. And it's just, I'm finally hearing it and doing something about it. And I like, now that I'm opening my eyes to it, it's been there. Like, it's been like screaming at me. Like, even Alicia, you did a reading for me like almost a year ago, like and this was like the self-love and loving myself first was something that was a theme from that. And I just didn't hear it then. And so those were just some of the things that have come through the 13 weeks for me.
Thank you for sharing that. Who's next?
I can piggyback a little bit on that because I think the biggest takeaways for me this time around were sort of having that trust in myself and trust in the universe and like letting go of control. I mean, a big theme in my life in general has been like, if I'm perfect, then everything will happen perfectly, or, like I'll be able to control it somehow. And just the messages that I've been picking up from the book were really the like, I don't know, like have vision, have an idea, but then like let go of that sense of like having to control the outcome.
Ooh, that's a big one for me too. Just in general right now. I mean, there's not a lot I feel like I have control over. I mean, my hot water heater went out yesterday. I mean, what in the world, guys? So I took a cold shower today, which was super interesting. I was like, man, I guess I always wanted to do that biohacking thing where you take a cold shower. I guess now I get to. But that, life is lifing at us and we have zero control over it. And there is actually very little that's in our locus of control. But when you embrace that, I think, and I also think there's a fine line between embracing it and gaslighting your own feelings too. Like, don't be afraid to feel your feelings around it. Like, you're not going to bring more of that thing to you if you let, like, you have to let that feeling move through you and not get stuck in those lower three chakras, right? Like, so don't forget, I'm not saying you're doing this, but this is something I do, right? I can sometimes gaslight myself around the feelings that come up when life throws just shit at you. And don't gaslight those feelings. Make sure you are fully feeling those feelings and taking the time to experience that. I'm giving myself a pep talk as I share this with all of you as well. Feel it all, let it move through you, and then what do you want to experience instead, right? And hopefully you'll be able to call that other thing in of the thing that you want to experience. But it is a lot about trust and faith, and yeah. So thank you for sharing that, Sarah. All right, who else?
I can go next.
Yeah. Thank
Um, I was going to say I only read 4 chapters, but I think I just journaling helped me listen to my inner critic and see it from outside because so when I started not doing like not doing morning pages, so I was like, no, but I'm giving myself grace. It's okay. I'm not feeling well. But then like a voice behind was, what else can you say? Like that's the excuse you'll make that you're giving yourself grace. So just but not being consumed by it, just looking at it from outside. Like I got the NIPT, like the genetic testing done, and then I'm not scared. Like I'm very excited to get to know the gender in this. But then like I could hear a voice in my head like, why are you so excited? What if something is wrong with the baby? Then but then I'm like, I can see now, I feel like I can see that voice from outside and not be consumed by it.
Mhm.
So I just feel that's the biggest difference I've seen from when I had started to now, even though I'm not doing it every day, but still, I'm mentally doing it.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Twin Elva, have you gone? Do you have
No,
things?
yeah. I think when I started, I think one thing I've gotten out of this is an awareness of how I was so focused outside on everybody else's needs um, when I came. And so what I think it manifested in just a lot of physical stuff like gut stuff and stuff with my immune system. And so kind of came into this pretty depleted, didn't have any consistent way that I was doing my meditation. I had dropped some of those things. So a lot of that, the pages helped me kind of reconnect again and get back into my meditation practice. That's what's changed. I added that one to my morning pages. And I think a couple of things came out for me this time is that I see so much of how I've lived my life around what's the outcome that I
Mm,
do A, B, and C to get to this. And so I think finally I understood, well, I don't know the outcome. Maybe there doesn't have to be an outcome, or
mm,
just trust the process that that it will, whatever it will be, will be. And my biggest example of that is around yoga. I think I've always thought, yoga is my next calling. What am I going to do with yoga? Yoga, da, da. It finally hit me during this, like, maybe yoga is just something you do because yoga is what you do. Like, maybe maybe that's going to open up the door to whatever the next maybe the creative space comes from you doing yoga rather than yoga being the end result. So that's pretty significant, just to kind
mm.
of think of this as allowing and not just because I don't see what's down the road, don't stop, just keep moving forward. So that's pretty big for me because I've kind of grown up with this sense of I have to accomplish something and everything has to have a purpose. So
Yeah, I can relate to that as well. And Twin Elva, I will tell you that while I love teaching yoga, I have a love-hate relationship with teaching yoga. And if you were thinking of becoming like a yoga teacher, I don't want to dissuade you from at least trying a yoga teacher training program. Even if you just want yoga to be yours indefinitely, they're amazing. And it changes your relationship to the practice to become a yoga teacher pretty significantly. And for me, I would kill to go back to a place where I am just a student of yoga. Kill, I would kill, literally. And there are people I would like to kill right now. No, I'm just kidding. It's not entirely accurate. But I would very much enjoy having that practice as just for me again, for my own nervous system, for my own physical enjoyment. Yeah. But that's not to dissuade a yoga teacher training. Yeah. You can't teach Chandani, like you don't think you're a good teacher,
No, I
or
tried, but I don't think that I enjoy the yoga when because I'm so consumed. At least maybe I didn't teach for long, like I just did some classes, so I get so consumed in instructions and how everybody is doing. Like I don't know, my mind doesn't work that way. Like I can't look at 6 different people and then myself, and then so it started feeling like a task
Mhm.
rather than something you sit with. So that's why.
Yeah, and I don't know. I'll just kind of piggyback on that in a different direction. Also, like I rarely do this with things, but well, I don't even know that I want to say that. As a yoga teacher, I know I'm never going to be the best yoga teacher out there. Like there are yoga teachers out there that are so good at like weaving in the Bhagavad Gita or weaving in the Yoga Sutras and theming their class or having like it build up to a thing and then build back down. And for me, I just want to yoga floss and I want to share my yoga flossing with everybody out there. And I am starting to, we'll come back to that acceptance theme. I'm coming to an acceptance of that's the kind of yoga teacher I am. And the people that want to take that kind of yoga will take that kind of yoga with me, and the people that don't won't. And that's fine. That's why there's many, many different teachers out there. Yeah. So it's a
Yeah.
side note.
Yeah. So I have done my 200 and I
You
think
did.
oh yeah, I've done
Okay.
that years ago and I think I beat myself up because I'm like, well, I didn't become a teacher and so
Mm,
all of that was going like it should have you spent all that money to do all that and so yep, so I do have my 200. Yep. So
mhm. Is that where the like I think yoga is my path, like that
yeah.
story is coming from?
Yeah. 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 So I've released the story now.
All right.
I've released it.
That's great.
We're good.
Anything else coming up for anybody that's already went? Anything you want to popcorn out about where you were, what you've gotten out of it so far, and anything else?
I can go.
Yeah.
So I really think for me, another thing that came up, was just making a commitment to do things. And Alicia, I can't remember when it was, it may have been in Vision to Action, but when you said that, um, talking about keeping promises to yourself,
Mhm.
and that really stuck with me. And I just hit, I think, almost like 300 days of doing 10K steps a day. I've just hit, next week will be a year of sticking to a workout plan with a trainer, that I really did just for me. And so again, it goes back to getting rid of that perfectionism, but seeing how, okay, I've been able to be consistent in other areas of my life. If I put that effort of consistency into my creative practice, kind of like what Dwanelva said, I might not know what's down the road, but something's going to come out of it. So, really being able to make that commitment in terms of creativity, felt really good.
I love that. Yeah, Monica, thank you for sharing. I feel like I don't remember if I shared that in just Vision to Action or if I shared that here too, but I've always heard it said that, and I live this, I believe this, that confidence is built by making a promise or a commitment to ourselves and keeping that promise and that commitment. And that it's not that we have confidence and then do the thing, it's that we gain the confidence by keeping the commitment, keeping the practice and the promise. And that sticks with me all the time. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. Anything else coming up?
I'll go. I've really enjoyed just the group nature of it and being in this together. Like every single person's experience has influenced me in ways I see and ways I don't see. So when you ask, like, has anything else come up? Like one thing that popped into my head, and it just comes from like reading some of your stuff in your journey. It's been just a special gift to like have the seat I have with your journey and everything I'm learning. I wish you weren't going through it, or I mean, I don't know. You're
I don't know. It's kind of a miracle in some ways, to be honest.
yeah. Anyway, subtraction. And I think I always am trying to pile on more and do more and be better and do all of the things. And like, I'm always chasing this, like feeling I'm not good enough because there's so many more things that I should be doing, and embracing that, doing less. is okay and is important. And so the subtraction has been something that was a totally new way of framing things for me. So,
Oh, I love that. Keep thinking about subtracting and like, what am I dropping? What am I getting rid of? What am I letting go of? I want spaciousness in my life. Nervous system calm. All of that. Yeah. Any other thoughts?
Just to kind of hop onto that like space idea, I was watching a YouTube video yesterday about home organization, and the woman who the video was about has ADHD, and she had just had a baby, and her partner had just moved in with her, and their house was just like stacked, totally full. And the woman who was helping her organize was like, okay, imagine like your space or your life as this jar. And every time we bring something into it, we're putting a marble into the jar. And then, you know, when it gets full and you're still trying to put marbles in and they're stacking up, they're never going to actually just like sit there. So they're falling off the jar. And then if all you're doing is spending your time picking up the marbles around the jar and trying to get them to stack back up, like how stressful that is. And so I've been feeling that a lot too, like just when my jar is so full and it's not leaving any space for me to actually focus on my creativity or self-care. And all I'm trying to do is like pick up the pieces. You know, this happens where it's like, oh, I didn't make time on Sunday to make a meal plan and get groceries. So now it's Monday at 4 p.m. What am I going to feed my kids? And it's like this frantic, like picking up the marbles, just trying to like balance everything. And I do feel like this has kind of allowed me to step back and be like, okay, what are the things I actually want to focus on in my life? And what are those things that I can get rid of that have just been filling space and taking up time when it's not really what I want to be doing? And that has felt so freeing to be like, okay, like I know there was a chapter about just like getting rid of stuff. And I still feel that deeply. Like I want like nothing in my house, which I mean, you can see like that is not how my brain works. I love collecting things. I have little collections all over, but I all of a sudden have this feeling like I just want to not have to manage things. I don't want to manage other people's feelings. I don't want to manage like things outside of my control. I just want to have a space and a life that feels like I don't want to escape it. I just want to like be happy and calm in my own body and mind and house. And I don't know, it feels like terrifying and exciting all at the same time, but I've seen other people do it. So I feel like I can do it too. It just might take some time.
Thank you for sharing all of that. Anything else? Was there anything from chapter 12 that really hit you, that you want to just note before we close?
I know I just talked a whole bunch, but I loved the opening of the first quote: adventures don't begin until you get into the forest. That first step is an act of faith. I thought that was like such a beautiful way to start the end, because I feel like we all just took that step together many weeks ago.
I have a little note there. I drew an arrow and I said, and many, many steps after. Like sometimes it takes a lot of steps before the adventure begins, but it doesn't mean that you're not on the right path. What else?
I had a couple. One was that the hobbies being essential to joyful life. And I've kind of fallen into that trap. It sounds like maybe similar to Dwinelva with the, like, I get into photography and people are like, you should make a living at that. I get into art, you should make a living at that. I'm interested in writing, you should write, and it's okay to just be a hobby, and that is worthwhile and important for a joyful life. So that was one. And there was one that was important to me. It's the we are what's important. On mine, it's page 197, but we want to do something, but we think it needs to be the right something. By which we mean something important. And then right after that, we are what's important.
Mm.
I don't know, it was just what I needed to hear. I'm not willing to allow myself to think that most days. So.
Yeah, thank you. Anything else in this last chapter?
It hit on those themes of trusting, letting go of control too. Like she even starts it off that way, like creativity is faith, it's trust, it's letting go of control. That's scary. So just leaning into those.
Mm. Yeah. I also like always remember the first rule of magic is self-containment. You must hold your intention within yourself, stoking it with power. Only then will you be able to manifest what you desire. Just a note on manifestation. I was listening to a podcast this morning that someone had sent me, and they were talking about manifestation, and they were saying you don't want to manifest a career, you don't want to manifest a house or a car or things. That's not what you're trying to manifest. What you are trying to manifest is the lightness of being that's already inside of you. You're trying to manifest your own vibe that's already inside of you. You are trying to manifest an amplification of love. To remember that you are the music. You're not seeking music outside of yourself. You are the music. I feel like that is a lot of what this whole book is about, is the reminder that you are the love, you are the creativity, you are the process, you are the magic. And what we want is already here, right? We just want to amplify what's already there. Because we're whole, we're enough, we're everything we need right here and right now. Well, before I have us close with our final takeaway for the class, I want to just give you a tidbit of what's next. So what's next is I'm giving like a free journaling week so that people who haven't really experienced what I do and how I do it will get a tiny taste of that. And that will be those pre-recorded videos that go out the 7th through the 11th. And then I'm going to do sessions kind of talking about who I am, what my work in Yoga and Abundance is, and what Raw was and what it's going to be. That's going to be the following week, the week of the, I guess that's the 14th through the 18th. And that will be when we have open cart essentially for Raw, for the 100 days of Raw. And this Raw is for anyone who has experienced Raw before, it's not really going to be like Raw of the past, because that was its own container and it was wonderful and beautiful, but it's not replicable, right? That was its own time capsule of a thing, and it's time for a new incarnation of that. So it will have very similar elements. Raw never had more than 20 people signed, or 25 people signed up at one time. And I'm going for probably, I'm hoping for 50 to 100. And the reason why I'm hoping for a number like that, you can see even with a group like this, is that you start with 17 or 18, and then by the end, maybe 4 or 5 people are consistently on the calls. So I really think for a container like a raw experience where we sit and we come together in that collective energy of writing together, starting with a prompt, writing together, and then opening up sharing time. What we need is we need a mass of numbers so that when folks are able to show up, you've got a good group of people there. When folks aren't, you've still got a good group of people there that are contributing, because what we know is it is that dynamic sharing exchange of ideas going back and forth that is so potent and potential and sparks so much within us. So we'll meet Monday through Friday. It will be like the lunchtime hour that I think 12 to 1:30 is what I have down. And so we'll start with, I'll either read an essay. You know, I've kind of was like, I've been reading Suleika's book, the Book of Alchemy. Have you guys seen that book on creativity? Well, she wrote the memoir Between Two Kingdoms, and it's a great memoir if you haven't read it. And she is kind of like a creativity guru. And so during she has cancer. She lives with terminal chronic cancer, I believe. And I think I'm saying that correct. I don't know that she would say it like that, but I believe that's what's happening. And she did this thing. She was dealing with the leukemia prior to COVID. And so she had a lot of experience with isolation and used creativity as her vehicle to deal with that. And she started by 100 days of that 100 days of creativity project with friends and family while she was in the hospital. And then during COVID, or just after COVID, she started the isolation journals. So she started a Substack where people would come on. She's famous in her own right, but she's also married to John Baptiste, who is very famous, right? He was the musician on, I think, The Daily Show, if that's correct. But he's just an incredible musician, but he's also very well connected, and she's got all these connections with creative people and then his circle. And so she has all of these very well-known people write these essays and give a prompt for writing. And that happened like every week for a very long time. And she's now compiled that into a book, 100 basically journaling prompts. So I was reading this book and I was like, we did that in raw. I mean, like we did that. I already did that. Like it's just not exactly in the same thing. So why don't we do it again? We need this again. We need this commitment to sitting down and being in our journaling. So, and I need to wrap us up. There's another workshop afterwards. I know Kristen needs to, so I'm going to wrap us up quickly. But I wanted to let you know that if you're looking for a way to stay in that commitment to yourself of journaling to gain inspiration, stay connected to the community, this is where you're going to want to be. And I think it's going to be pretty powerful. I'm going to give a code to all of you who were in this group. I'm going to give you 15% off any of the tiers. So if you want to do the entry tier or the mid tier with creativity time, or add on some coaching, and I'm only doing 10 spots with coaching because it's a lot. It's like a really robust offering. You can do 15% off any of those things. I will send that to you guys within the next day or so, but just know that that's coming. And yeah, I would love to popcorn one word as quickly as you can. Just a takeaway from either today or the experience. Kelly, I'm going to start with you.
Audacious playfulness, 2 words.
I love it. Chandani, how about you?
I can't think of anything, but
That's-
yeah, just trying to be consistent.
I love that. Kristen.
Breaking the rules, no one word, but something that really sat with me is the when Kelly said, I want to live a life I don't feel like I have to escape. And I'm just rewording it to, I want a life I'm excited to live.
I love that. Thank you. Dwinelva.
Synchronicity.
Yes. Monica.
Play.
Yes. Sarah.
Trust.
Trust. Trust, faith, all of it. And I have deep gratitude for all of you. Thank you so much for being on this journey over the last 13 weeks. It has been so special to be with all of you, and I will see you again soon. Bye, everyone.